how many people? I'm waiting for an answer, Mr. Bruce. And I did talk to Mr. Bruce like a decade ago. You had told me to call him. I did call him. And I asked him, why are you going after Shane Christopher? All he wants you to do is accept his accepted for value payment on some TV and stuff equipment. The thing I thought was crazy, Shane, is that's supposed to be used for big purchases, right? And you were buying like TV and stuff?
Well, the thing is that here's the thing. The case was never presented to a grand jury.
I got that.
The grand jury didn't want to hear it.
I agree.
And I actually have proof of that. We can show one of them, well, maybe we can't show them right tonight, but anyways, make a long story short is that there's a large group of people out there that know about accepted for value. And I want to bring up one point. During the trial that took place back in, it would have been March of 2010. I can't believe the time, how it goes. March of 2010, I believe it was like around March, maybe 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
We're almost out of time for this episode.
Anna Medlock, in charge of 400 IRS agents, admitted on record that accepted for value to the Internal Revenue Service means money.
Okay, so
That term, and I have the transcripts in front of William Scrutiny, and William Scrutiny was the one that asked the question in open court during the trial. Right there, innocent, case dismissed.
do we want to watch that audio first, or do we want to go to Frank, the reporter in New York?
I would like to go to the audio since we're talking about the behavior of Anthony Bruce. I'm one of many people.
Okay.
I'm just one person.
Can we roll that audio?
And this was a hearing that took place on August the 20th of 2000 and I think it was August 20th, 2009. And basically I filed several complaints against Anthony Bruce in that summer, and he found out about those complaints, and he sent out 4 marshals to my house to come scoop me up and sent me into a 24-hour lockdown facility for 7 days. Once the magistrate found out about it,
or a psych eval or something, huh?
Well, we didn't get to the psych yet, but that was coming down the pipeline.
That's what they do to try to destroy you. Say you need a psych eval. That's exactly what the old Soviet Union used to do to all the protesters against the horrible dictatorial communist regime of the Soviet Union. Get them a psych eval. And they'd disappear in the mental hospitals and never... Should read Solzhenitsyn's book. Solzhenitsyn was a Russian that can tell you, and he did tell you firsthand. Okay, roll it. Roll it. Let's see it.
It also seems you could have it mailed. That's not in the order, Your Honor. I believe that would have been included in the order, or it would have had...
Let me cut through this, and I'm not trying to prevent anybody from having their day in court or having any legal argument. But I have to say, with all due respect to the executive branch of the United States government, notwithstanding the precipice of danger that we find ourselves in, starting with 9/11, the economic crisis, what we still have going on in the world, healthcare, the fragileness of government, the lack of respect of government, both by way of corruption as well as by way of waste. I'm having a very difficult time understanding why the United States government is so intimidated and so paranoid and so perplexed over what is in front of me that it has gone to the point of taking up this court's time, taking up the U.S. Attorney's Office's time, and even going to the grand jury in those 2 prior cases on so-called alleged bail violations. If the U.S. Attorney's Office wants to do something constructive and valuable to the public and to the taxpayer, and are concerned about filings and documents, I strongly urge, as I have in the past, that they set up a special unit over there to start pursuing the fraudulent financial affidavits that are filed, especially in the drug cases, where we have people who haven't worked in 10 years and are driving big expensive cars and don't have any means of support. But yet the government just seems to turn their head away. But we're going to spend a lot of time on what I have already described as a bunch of gibberish filed by Mr. Buchek. It seems to me that it's somewhat vindictive and somewhat retaliatory on the part of a certain assistant U.S. attorney in pursuing this.
Well,
it's not you, Mr. Burgesser. It's not you, Mr. Burgesser.
I I could just address that. I actually do take interest in the one comment you just made about the financial affidavits. I will like to report that back to my...
I wish you would, because I have said that probably from about the second year I went on this bench.
We have no disagreement there. But what I would like to say is, and I understand the court's time, I understand the Assistant United States Attorney's time as well as our office's time. The time that's being taken up here, and I know how the initial charges were laid, was due to the time that's being taken up by the Internal Revenue Service dealing with certain individuals, not just perhaps this defendant, but other individuals that are part of this sovereign citizen movement. It's kind of like everybody in the world stole a nickel. It'd be worth a lot. A nickel by itself doesn't mean much. That's what's happening here in this case. Mr. Buchek.
We had Mr. Madoff stealing billions, and the SEC didn't seem to be concerned for 10 years.
Correct. But
So that's a good analogy.
The IRS, I've spoken to the IRS agents, the Inspector General's office, and apparently there's quite a movement afoot that allows documents very similar to this throughout the United States. And but for the fact of a lot of the motions that would have been brought here, the easiness of proceeding with certain fraudulent instruments, and the continued filings in this court, perhaps less time would have been taken up. As far as what was happening in this case previously, I told the court before, you know, I'm aware of the additional counts that were added. I've taken a look at that since I was here on Monday. And I'm here for the purpose of asking the court to revoke bail. And obviously that's the court's final determination. I'm also here on behalf of the U.S. Attorney's Office asking for the court to consider contempt under 3148C. We're also moving under 3148B as to the possible federal crime, whether it be contempt or underneath 1521 of Title 18, that there's a rebuttable presumption as to combination of conditions that could actually be utilized in this case to release the defendant again. It seems that no matter what is put in place, he violates what's been asked to simply be done by the court, so the defendant can remain at large, that he can stay at his house, that he can participate with his family. The conditions are not hard to follow. In reference to even these documents that were recently sent, all he had to do pursuant to the court's order was approach pretrial services, which then could have either said yea or nay. There could have been a court proceeding, and the court could have made a decision. Unfortunately, he contacted the clerk's office directly, and I believe he put that on the record the other day.
But I had told Mr. Buchek that if he was going to file things, they would have to be filed in the clerk's office when he was representing himself.
These were not filed there, though.
I know, but to make a statement that he did something wrong by contacting the clerk's office.
I'm following through on the thought about these documents where I know he contacted the court as well.
About whether he could communicate with the Department of Treasury and the Department of Commerce.
But if in fact he was going to contact the Internal Revenue Service, he needed to submit the document at least 2 days beforehand to pretrial service.
Well, the IRS is part of the Department of Treasury.
Right, and he did contact them.
And I had told him if he had something involving his tax account, his tax situation, I said he, as a citizen of the United States and under the First Amendment,
Correct.
He was free to contact the Department of Treasury.
But these documents do not deal with his.
I understand that, and I pointed that out at our last session.
Your Honor. And, you know, I hear what the court has to say. It's the government's position. I believe the documents speak for themselves. We're relying on presumption as to some of the counts. As far as him going to Ms. Padavora's office, that's not part of the order and conditions of release. And if I'm incorrect, I'm sure the court will be more familiar with it than I am, as with Mr. Kowski. But reviewing the record, I did not see that. The other conditions all fall in reference to the direct orders that were made by the court. Count one, you know, dealing with his attempt to file these liens. You know, the second one, again, dealing with 401.3. The third one being the attempted threat or attempted intimidation, which I prefer to phrase it as opposed to actual intimidation. The filing is count 4. 5, the subject should not communicate with any government agency unless filed through the district court's office. This was not filed through the district court's office. And 6, the nature of his home confinement, which in this instance does not fall within the purview of the order.
But all of those were in the context of involving the 3 indictments. I had no authority. I don't think the district judge would have authority to enjoin a citizen of the United States from seeking redress from any branch of government, so long as it's done in a peaceful way or a lawful way, or to communicate with representatives of his government about problems he was having with his taxes or with his personal life.
But the court, in a very strange way,
My orders were all in the context of filings as they related to the 3 indictments.
But the court, in a very restrained way, told him how he needed to contact government agencies, and the fact that it had to be reviewed by pretrial services, and that it had to be filed through the district courts.
But he did, and then he contacted the clerk's office, and the clerk's office said, well, you better clear that with Judge Schrader's chambers, and then he called my chambers. He went through that process. Now the government's saying he should never have done that.
He did not file with the district court's office. He did not contact
No, I said I'm going to get to that one because that's another bird that is under the saddle for the moment. He contacted Jean Marie McCarthy in the clerk's office, called her about what he could do with some of these documents. She told him she could not give him an answer, that he should contact my chambers. He contacted my chambers and talked to my deputy clerk. The message was conveyed to me that Mr. Buchek had requested permission to file certain documents involving his taxes with the Department of the Treasury, and also some documents regarding something, I thought it was something to do with business affairs, with the Department of Commerce. I said, as far as I'm concerned, he's a citizen of the United States. He has First Amendment rights. If that's what it relates to, he has every right to do that. It has nothing to do with the 3 indictments. Now, admittedly, as I myself pointed out at the last appearance, some of those documents seem to not be in the format or in the subject matter as I thought they were going to be when I gave that permission. They do seem to reflect or have some bearing or some relationship to the 3 indictments. And so perhaps in that context, Mr. Buchek did cross the line. But other than that, I never said he couldn't contact anybody in the clerk's office or that he couldn't contact a government agency about issues that were no way related to the 3 indictments. I don't think I had the power to do that, so long as he was doing it in a lawful manner.
You're not to, redress actually what you said as far as whether you have the power to or not. But on page 3
power in the sense that the Constitution of the United States guarantees citizens the right to redress their government as well as the right to express their views under the First Amendment.
And I believe that's why in the amended order setting conditions of release, which is Exhibit C, double C, they actually did say the defendant not to have any communication in any form with any government agencies.
In the context of these 3 indictments. Mr. Bruce was all upset about how he was communicating terrible things as it related to the 3 indictments.
But also when we go to the order adding a condition of release, again, I think the court was being very fair both to the government as well as to Shane by setting up a way that he could contact even with the Internal Revenue Service or the Treasury Department. But it had to do with a specific format. And in one sense, if there was going to be a telephone call or some other form of contact, there needed to be 1-day notice. If it's going to be something written or something that was going to be filed or mailed to them, there's supposed to be 2-day notice so that this could be reviewed by pretrial. If pretrial agreed with it, it could go. If not, it could be brought to the court and the court could make a ruling on it. And obviously that didn't occur.
All right. Now, let me address the other issue with respect to pretrial services. I quite frankly am, I won't even say somewhat, I quite frankly am disturbed about the way this whole thing generated. We have a simple alleged bail violation. If Mr. Bruce really was concerned about the bail violation, as we do in practically all cases, the government merely needs to file a motion with an affidavit saying we believe that the defendant is in violation of terms and conditions of bail and we're moving to have his bail revoked. I have some real serious problems with Mr. Bruce unilaterally communicating with the Pretrial Services Unit of the United States Probation Office, which is there to serve the court, not the U.S. Attorney's Office.